I wanted to just talk about the 3 ways on how you can attract the right man. Because it's one thing to attract a quality man, it's one thing to attract a good man, but it's another thing to attract the right man for you. Because so often people get into a relationship with great people, but it doesn't work out because it wasn't the right person for them. And everybody has their own definition of what right and great looks like. Not right, but what great and attractive looks like. But in terms of right, it's individually tailored specifically to that person. So I want to talk about the 3 things. Let me put up 2. The 3 things that women can do to help attract the right man for them. And the number one thing, and this doesn't matter if you want to be in a relationship or not, but this is the number one thing that women should do to attract not just the right men, but also the right people in their lives. Because before I go to that first point, sometimes the people in your life will cause you to have a certain mindset, be in certain moods, and actually give off certain frequencies that when it comes to you meeting somebody that you're supposed to be in a relationship or you could be in a relationship with, it could actually end before it starts just because of the vibe that they get from you or the one that you get from them that might not be accurate because it's tainted based on the people that you surround yourself with. But going back to the number one thing, you never want to make your happiness dependent on being in a relationship. Now, people might say, well, that's not me, whatever, but that's easier said than done. Because when it comes to like fulfillment and true joy and happiness and just success at the highest level and things like that, sometimes the best fulfillment that you can get is when you can enjoy that and share that with somebody that you love and trust and that you're planning on spending the rest of your life with. And so a lot of times people base their happiness on that. I'll be happy when, or I'll be happy if. But the best thing that somebody can do in terms of really attracting the right man for them is to never base your happiness on being in a relationship. Because the one thing that is very attractive to men is when they see a woman who feels like she doesn't need them. Now, I want to be clear on what I'm saying. Not somebody who's just so independent that, she doesn't need him for a kid because she can go to a donor. She doesn't need him for a job because she got her own money. She doesn't need him for love because of whatever the case may be. Now, there are some instances where you do want men to feel like whatever attribute or gifts or talent they have is an asset to you as a woman. Because if he feels like that what he brings is not of any value to you, then he's going to be intimidated and not even seek you to begin with. But what is attractive to a man is when a woman is very secure in herself, she seems happy, she seems fulfilled, and that is something that she feels without anybody else being in her life, when she could just have that on her own. That is very attractive to a man because he's like, man, I want to have what you're having, And so the thing about that is that you rarely see that. You rarely see people that truly experience happiness and fulfillment on a level that they can have that by themselves, where they don't have to tell anybody, they don't have to share with anybody, they don't have to have a certain specific man in their lives to have that. They just have it on their own. And that is something that really draws men to them, that are valuable. Because the thing about it is rare, but if we're honest, most of us, we really like things that are not easily accessible to us. And something like that is not easily accessible. So when a man can find something that's unique like that, almost, like a unicorn, if you will, something you don't really see often, that is something that draws quality men to you, and they find that very attractive. And if you think about it, somebody who's happy at that level, who's fulfilled, they're going to attract their equivalent, because happy and fulfilled and quality people attract quality and happy and fulfilled people. It's like, somebody who has a certain standard. If they meet somebody whose standard is down here, it's not going to work, no matter how physically attractive that person might be. But somebody who's on the same wavelength, they're going to have so many things in common to the point where this person might finish another person's sentences. You've probably heard that before, but that is what it really means to truly be the quality person first, so that when you attract your equivalent, you actually see it. Now, the second thing that women can do in order to attract the right man in their lives is those one or two or a few men that are in their lives really invest in their emotional bank account. And here's what I mean by that. There's so many men in our society that they fear their emotions. As a matter of fact, society actually condemns men for even getting in touch with their emotion. And actually the only emotion that our society even recommends or even welcomes men to actually display is anger. See, in our society, most people, they don't even look at anger as an emotion, because you hear so often people talk about, women being more emotional than men. Well, what are you basing that on? People base that on the absence of anger. It's like when you take every other emotion outside of anger, then that's what they base emotional on, and that's something that women are identified as being the winners in, if you will. But if you really think about who's more emotional, it's men. You could just look at how many women, and I'm not trying to get this, trying to go off topic here, but you look at how many women die at the hands of a man than a man died at the hands of a woman, because of something that happened that was all centered around emotional as its basis. It's not even comparable. So when you really think about who's more emotional, it's actually men that's more emotional. We might not admit that because we don't identify anger as being an emotion. We just think that, hey, that's just a part of being a man. Well, part of being human is somebody who has emotions. That's the first and foremost, somebody who's human. So in order to be human, you have to have emotions, unless you're some kind of psychopath, you have some kind of mental block or something like that going on, but we all have emotions. But as a woman, when you can invest in a man's emotional bank account, get him to, laugh a little bit, get him to kind of even open up about things that he fears, get him to talk about things that excite him, the future. How does he see that? And that's a good question, because the thing about a man is, like, when you ask a man about his future and what does he see in it, if he doesn't talk anything about family or anything to do with you in it initially, and you give him an opportunity, that's a sign that he doesn't see you as being around long term. Because if he's talking about his future, but he's not talking about you in it, then that means he doesn't see you in it. And you've given him an opportunity and an open door to talk about his future plans of being with you. Now, again, I know when you meet somebody new, they might not even talk about things like that on the initial. But if they don't at least even talk about, family or marriage, or maybe, they're a little bit older, but at least talk about family, that's an indication that he doesn't really see a relationship as being something long-term for him to focus on. But again, investing in a man's emotional bank account is so critical. And again, it's not all about just making the man happy and cater to him. And no, it's not that at all. It's about you identifying something within him that can help him get in touch with his emotions. And sometimes when men fear their emotions, when they finally do get in touch with those emotions and they have a positive experience, they make certain associations with whoever was around that connected them to the very thing that they were afraid of, which is you. So when you can help a man to connect with his emotions on a positive level, then that's going to be an association that anytime he thinks back to years down the road, you're going to be the association that he actually connects those emotions with. And that's actually a phenomenal thing. Now, the third thing that women can do to attract the right man for them is when they're dating, or when you have somebody in your life that you have a potential long-term potential life with, or even when you're just dating somebody casually, the one thing that is so critical to do is actually see the best in that person. So often women are damaged, and people in period are damaged, and so they're programmed to see the negative in people. How is this person going to try to get over on me? Why do they even want to date somebody like me? What do they even want from me? And sometimes we're programmed to see the worst in somebody, and we don't even realize that sometimes the expectation that we have, no matter what that other person do, we're going to only see what we expect. And a lot of times when you see the best in somebody, even if they've never performed to whatever their best is in their entire lives, sometimes for somebody seeing the best in them for the first time will cause them to tap into themselves and actually activate something that they've never ignited before, and actually pull out their best, because they've actually been shown that somebody sees something in them that they don't see within themselves. Sometimes people know what's inside, but they're so scared to activate it because they're afraid that it's going to be rejected. They're afraid that it's not going to be welcome, and they're afraid that they're going to be vulnerable and somebody's going to point out a flaw that diminishes or demeans whatever their best is. So when you can actually see the best in a man, sometimes that inspires him, because women don't realize how much influence they have over men. I know a lot of women think that, hey, men have a lot of influence, that we get our hair done, nails done, all that kind of stuff. You guys don't realize how much influence you have over men. And when you can actually see the best in a man, you might cause him to be the best him that he can possibly be, because it's the first time that somebody challenged him, welcomed it, or even saw it within him. And so these three qualities, any one of these three qualities will cause you to have a better chance of attracting the right man for you as a woman. And again, when you put all of these things together, a lot of it is really turned back on you. It's turned back on you being the best you can be, because so often everybody wants something that they're not willing to give. Everybody wants something that they can't have. And a lot of times they can't have it because they have not worked for it, they have not prepared for it, and therefore they haven't even welcomed it into whatever space that they're in. And so attracting the right man for you means you being the best you for you that you can be. Because when you become the best you can be, you actually give yourself the opportunity to give somebody the best version of them, therefore attracting the best equivalent that you can actually attract. But thank you for watching this video, and again, thank you for supporting Guyology Secrets and sharing the word. So please share this video with somebody that you feel like can benefit from it, and I look forward to seeing you inside the Guyology Secrets community area.